Hello, Ian.
Hey.
And hello, everyone.
Yes.
Welcome to Blank as a Fart, episode 25.
Or 17, depending on how you're deciding to.
Well, 25th episode overall.
Yes.
I'm marking a lot of milestones here. Has it really been a half a year since we got started on this?
So it's like an anniversary episode almost.
Sort of. This is like officially like the halfway point from where I plotted this. Because my original plan called for 50 episodes.
I see.
Which I think we're actually going to extend beyond that based on like the supplemental material that we're going to cover later on.
Sure.
But yeah, the original arc was a 50 episode arc, so
Indeed.
yeah.
Indeed.
But yeah, we're at a milestone here. Feels pretty good. I'm enjoying myself so far.
Technically it's season 2, episode 17. Wounds
That's right.
and Scars.
Wounds and Scars. Boy, I'm not going to lie, I struggled with this one. Like, even as a hardcore fan, like, this one did not hold my attention in a lot of respects.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Holy
I
shit.
can't
You're
explain
going to have a fucking fit on this one then. Hold on a second. Before I get into my opinion, I'll let you know why my opinion is valid. Yes, I'm Ian Southworth, Emmy winner. I'll just show it right here really quick. In case last week last week you thought I was lying about the fact that I had an Emmy, I am a professional. I have an Emmy. This is why my opinion is valid. Anyway, I just wanted to
air horn soundboard over there.
I mean, there is an air horn, I believe, right here. Let's see. It's where is it? Right here. Anyway, Gabe, you couldn't hold your attention. I saved my note for the very end, but best episode by far. A true master lifting this shit above the rim of the toilet seat. Yes, this is my favorite. This is by far one of the greatest episodes. Produced, pacing, story-wise. Yeah, if only this. Team.
And it all came
if only
from
this
a
team
director of Madonna videos.
No, I mean you're gonna say that James Foley. I mean yes, Madonna videos, but James Foley also directed the masterpiece that is Glengarry Glen Ross. And if you have never seen that fucking film, go fucking find it. Go fucking watch it. Go get yourself a pair of brass balls and always be closing, because that film is a fucking masterpiece. Written by David Mamet. He wrote that. He wrote it as a play. He directed that. He didn't direct this film. This dude directed that film, but that film is one of my favorites. I had it for the longest time on VHS. I think I have a DVD copy. I don't think I have it on Blu-ray. But holy shit, it's a masterwork. That film is awesome. It is rewatchable to no end. And the fact that this dude slummed for this fucking show, by far the best director so far we've come across, including Lynch. On his own show, 100%.
On his own show.
Anyway,
interesting.
I came early. I got a bunch of notes that we can go back to later, but like right off the bat, man. No, I actually really enjoyed this episode, and this is only my third beer. It's not like I had like 20 beers. And I'm just like, whoa. Anyway.
Yeah, you're excited about this one.
I enjoyed it.
I mean, honestly, I have not seen Glengarry Glen Ross. I know it's
Pacino,
a place
Baldwin,
in the lexicon. Pacino,
Lennon,
Baldwin, Lennon. The inspiration for the Gil character in The Simpsons.
There's other things I need to talk to you about that I was just then randomly reading about, and I don't know how we haven't talked about it yet.
Hang on, I'm going to leave camera for 1 second.
How have we not talked about the fact DB Cooper?
Oh, that whole thing.
How have we not actually talked about that shit? Anyway. We don't have to talk about that now or later. I just thought it was funny. It's like I was reading stuff, and then I was like, that kind of came across my brow. I was like,
I mean,
there's so much shit in the Pacific Northwest about DB Cooper that it's just kind of funny that. Anyway,
Well, and Gordon Cole comes from Sunset Boulevard.
There you go. I mean, it's
there's a lot of wordplay like that, and those are Lynch things right there.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. That's where Cooper's name came from. I guarantee it.
We can stop sidetracking. We can get to the meat and bones of your boringest episode ever.
I wouldn't say bore. I don't know.
I did write before we started this because the track we've been on with the episodes. I wrote notes. Do I really need to take them anymore?
Did you write that before you saw the director's credit?
Yes. As I was playing as I hit play and was watching the opening credits, I wrote that. And then James Foley popped up. It's like, oh, that sounds familiar. And so I Wikipedia. I was like, fuck yeah, I know who this dude is. But yeah, you're also right. He directed like every single fucking Madonna.
Yes,
video.
Up to this point, like his claim to fame was "Who's That Girl?" So glad to see he moved on to bigger and better things. However, this is his contribution to the Lynchiverse, or whatever you want to call it, which begins with some neo-noir jazz and a montage of Harry and Josie in happier times. Harry's in the bookhouse, being big sad about Josie's death, and he deals with his feelings the same way all men in the 20th century did, by hiding from the world and getting obliterated on Jack Daniels.
I was sad kind of about this like kind of weird montage of Josie. It's like I was really hoping for some of the aggressive sex scene footage. And it's like kind of make it dark, like
right, like
they didn't do
slice
that.
It in with
it's all happy
criminal.
like anyway.
And that's Harry's image of her, He's doing his best to not let the reality intrude on his memories.
But I think it would have been important for this episode because she's a whore, and just have to like little glimpses of her being a whore would have been good. Little like he's fighting it because that's why he has to use a drug Daniels.
Yeah, but
I know,
not in this scene.
I think
this is where he's still kind of nostalgic, but still a little happy. Like he's still laughing. He kind of laughs at the breakfast, So he's still
sober.
Happy,
still kind of sober.
Well, he's been at it all night already. Like this is the morning that Hawk's showing up. So like he's taken Josie's body to the morgue, and he's been up all night with the bottle already. So anyway, Hawk does swing by to drop off a special breakfast from Norma, which Harry finds amusing, but ultimately declines. He asks how things are at the station, although you get the impression that he doesn't really give a shit. He nonchalantly waves off the news, saying that Cooper and Hawk can handle it. He remarks, "It's a simple town. At least it used to be." And that is a pretty poignant line and that's a theme that we've been coming back to more and more frequently, and we don't see Harry necessarily blame Cooper for it like we did the villains.
Okay, but like the first season was like a week. Like this is like where's the timeline at this point?
I think we're in like late March, so probably 6 weeks since Cooper's come to town.
But see, that's still fairly recent to say that like it used to be a quiet town, and yet maybe he doesn't have to really allude to the fact. I mean, he just does say that like to Hawk, like Cooper can handle it, but like there is that whole like.
Well, they are on what, their 5th and 6th murders?
Sure. So like
in 6 weeks, I mean that definitely changes.
You can look at Harry's like, well, Cooper can handle it, like because Cooper's been dealing with all the murders anyway.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going with that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't used to be that thing. It wasn't like that's not how it was. It used to be simple, but now there's murders, and then Coop deals with them.
Yeah, murders and international incidents.
And maybe he's resentful there. I mean, this is the most stretching and fun we've gotten of Truman. I don't understand why you don't enjoy this. I saw your Facebook post and about but it's like, nah, I dig this. This is fun. This is different. I think because it's different. I don't know, and everything's shot so well. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's seeing it from the lens of childhood. Because in childhood, I remember thinking that this was just ridiculous.
It's like this. I'll take a little. We're gonna take a little segue here. Anyway,
and not necessarily this part. It's just the very, very last part.
But Reverend, my friend Matt and I were doing our Reverend and Milkman podcast, our comic book podcast, and we were talking about movies, and we were talking about the original cartoon Transformers movies, and how like everyone saw at the time killing Optimus Prime was the worst thing. But I told him, it's like, yeah, at the time it was bad, but in the long play, it was the best thing they could have ever done for that franchise.
Oh man, yeah,
because
it immortalized it.
Exactly. And so when you look at the G.I. Joe film,
its place.
When you look at the cartoon G.I. Joe film, they never did anything brutal to any of those characters.
They did, actually.
Well, kind of, but not really.
They were supposed to kill off,
well, yes, but they didn't. They brought him back at the end.
Minute rewrite.
Right. They brought him back
with off screen. Yeah, he was in a coma.
Right. So this is like, yes,
and it was specifically because of their reaction.
Right.
Yeah.
So like at the time, I see Transformers killing Optimus Prime as a toy, as that thing. But you're right. It immortalizes him, and in the long play, it made him a fucking icon. Like made him like Jesus, basically. You know, it's like he's ingrained in everyone's heads as this god of
right.
Anyway, so like maybe Truman, you were so close to him at the time, and seeing him really hurt you. But like I think, as a grown up, and I'm watching this and seeing all of this now, I think this is the best thing. Like, I like the darker stuff. I like seeing our characters go through these periods of time that hurt them and make them kind of... We don't know how he's going to transform. I don't know if he's going to transform because we don't know that. But I like him going through this dark period. It's different than he's been, and I enjoy it. So
I'll give you... Yeah, it's different. It's a breath of fresh air from Harry. We do get to see him stretch a bit. And yeah, perhaps, I was an overly harsh judge of his acting in these particular scenes.
Really? I think he's good. I think he's been so kind of just meh for so long, just playing like second fiddle.
He's been pretty vanilla, yeah.
Now he's doing something else. This like, oh, okay, let's go. Let's bring it. Anyway.
Well, we'll have plenty more to talk about there. But first, after Hawk leaves Harry with an ironic salute, is that Heather Graham walking in the door of the Double R Diner? Why, yes, it is.
All I know is it's sexy Shelley, dude. Dude, she is turning.
This is Shelley's best scene ever, or not this one in particular.
No,
but
the whole show, she's just like fucking hot. She's just like
this was. Anyway. Shelley was on her game this week. I noticed it too, and I enjoyed it as well. But yeah, Heather Graham, actually, in the context of the show, this is Norma's sister Annie arriving. Norma greets her with a warm hug and introduces her to Shelley. They have a brief discussion about their shared difficulties with Mom and adjusting to the real world before Norma puts Annie right to work. No charity. So is this another shocker for you? I managed to keep this one secret the whole way.
I mean, I'm not a huge Heather Graham fan, so like I didn't know this was coming. It was like, oh, okay, but she's fine. Like, really, my opinion, like, because we see Shelley at the beginning and kind of her being super cute. It's like my attention was really on Shelley, and it's like, oh, you brought in this like, I don't know. It was. Just,
I mean, the scene starts with the close-up on Heather Graham.
I know, but then you get. I know, but then you get Shelley.
So you can't notice Shelley first.
Okay, you're right, but I just thought I did notice Shelley first.
Before
like,
you.
I was just kind of walk. You watch this person walk in, and then oh yeah, that's who that is, and it's like, but I just like meh.
Meh.
She didn't have the energy. She has no energy. was like, oh,
She's kind of flat.
Actually, the entire time it's like, okay, this is where we're introducing Norma's sister. I get it. And then, but then
she's like a high school senior reading Romeo and Juliet.
Seeing Shelley between them and like her doing her thing, and it's just like that's such a more like magnet. I was just magnetized to Shelley, and then these had a talk, and you kind of. Then I finally recognized it as Heather Graham, and it's like, meh. Her hair is all like fucking just nasty, kind of.
Oh man, yeah, that is some early '90s hair she's sporting right there.
It's not good. It's like you're gonna make some like dreads out of that. I don't know.
That's how people dealt with curls coming out of the '80s.
You know, curls. I just thought she was like a homeless person.
No. It wasn't until Eddie Vedder showed us the way that we started, naturalizing that a little more.
Anyway. No, I didn't know it was coming. You kept it from me, but I don't really care.
Yeah. She wasn't great here. She's really young, really green, and it shows. At the counter, Major Briggs is finishing a slice of pie, which he praises as compelling. A compliment that Shelley really doesn't know what to do with as she writes up his check. Behind the Major, a hand reaches out to gently touch the marking on his neck that he received during his disappearance. It's Margaret, who seems oddly disturbed by the discovery, taking a seat next to the Major and clutching her log. Anything to add there? No? Well, yeah, plenty of that later.
I mean, sure.
It's
the weirdo.
Did it intrigue you at all when you saw it?
I mean, we did... it is... I have nothing to add to this right now.
No? Not a where are we going with this?
I mean... Twin Peaks, that's where we're going.
Twin Peaks. Cooper is seated at Harry's desk working on Interpol paperwork when Hawk arrives to let him know that Harry is pretty close to bottoming out. Coop hopes aloud that Harry will return soon and implies that Hawk should be the one seated behind Harry's desk, not him. However, Hawk defers to Cooper as the senior lawman and also expresses his distaste for paperwork. Nobody likes paperwork. Even Cooper. He agrees, given that the international can of worms that the deaths of Eckhart and Josie have opened. He hands Hawk Josie's autopsy file, stating that Doc Hayward was unable to determine a cause of death and that Josie's body only weighed 65 pounds during the autopsy. Weird. Hawk recommends caution of both physical and spiritual nature, and then asks about the latest on Wyndham Earle. Cooper has nothing new to offer, as Earle has yet to respond to his latest chess move.
Oh, Wyndham Earle.
Yeah, we don't have long to wait, because now we visit Earle himself and his pet Leo in their cabin. As Earle performs what seems to be some sort of sinus clearing exercise, Leo fetches him, in order, his slippers, his pipe, and the daily paper. How very, very 50s.
Yeah.
After singing the praises of country life, Earle scans the personals for Cooper's next move. He quickly deduces Cooper's strategy to play to stalemate and correctly assumes that he's receiving help. This sends him into a rage, which he takes out on poor Leo, whacking him with the flute and vowing that many people will regret this.
Yep.
Before he badly fake plays it.
I mean, I have nothing to add to this one.
Yeah, it's, just stereotypical villain shit. Just shows him abusing Leo, just shows... It continues to be like Young Frankenstein vibes.
I do like that the director really got to it, just really kind of got to it, got it out of the way, and moved on. It's like we didn't do some kind of weird corny thing where we leaned on it and it was this longer thing. Really just get through it. Here's what I appreciate. The scenes that I enjoyed, we lingered on, and the scenes that were just let's get through this for the exposition point of the show. Let's get through them, and they really just move on. Like a professional directed this episode. That's all I'm gonna say. A
He wasn't
master
quite
of the art.
professional yet.
A master of the art. I don't know.
He was
Pretty close.
He was growing. He was growing.
What is this? What is this?
I will,
91? 90?
91, yeah.
Yeah, Glengarry Glen Ross is 92.
Okay, so yeah, he was pretty close to the height of his power then. He probably would have gone right to that from this. I would assume this would have been filming in winter of 90, would be my
Pretty
guess.
sure it's 92. Someone might have to call me out. I didn't actually check. I'm pretty sure it's 92.
Maybe we'll add it to the cinematic interlude, along with the wizard.
No. I'm not watching the fucking Wizard again, dude.
You don't want to do a podcast on the wizard?
I've done the podcast on the Wizard. Couch Co-op Show's already done it.
Yeah,
Let's
figures.
move on.
Couch Co-op did it. All right, yes, let's move on to Audrey demonstrating the proper way to work a catwalk amid a bustle of activity at the Great Northern.
Actually,
Yeah.
So after that happens, but the girl, the model that's wearing that weird kind of like like that fleece bodysuit,
gray leotard thing.
Holy shit, she's hot.
She had it going on.
And then what's his name? Fucking ruins it.
Dick.
Oh yeah, sorry.
How
How
could
could I
you
not
have
forget his
forgotten
name?
Yeah, right.
Anyway,
It's the most appropriate name of the whole series.
I was like, where did that come from? Did they have that kind of bodysuit back then? That seems wild. Like that's like today kind of attire. Like I don't understand.
She had the appearance of a Playboy model who was trying to break into acting. I'll leave it at that.
Sure. What's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
I know. I'm just trying not to objectify the woman.
Probably
even though that's
Baywatch is
pretty
probably
much
the
what
better
she's there
choice,
for.
but sure, Twin Peaks.
Hey, whatever casting you can get in on, right? Anyway, they're setting up a fashion show fundraiser for Ben Horn's Save the Pine Weasel project. Resident fashion icon Dick Tremaine is about, verbosely flirting with the models and offering them cigarettes, much to their chagrin. Audrey, clipboard in hand, appears to be managing the event and introduces Dick to Tim Pinkle. That's our friend David Lander again. Remember him?
Nope.
He was the medical equipment salesman that sold them Leo's Hoist. Most famous for
I remember
being a
that
supporting
scene.
actor.
I remember that scene, but I didn't catch that's who
Yeah,
that was.
David L. Lander was most famous for Laverne and Shirley.
Gotcha.
Squiggy was his character's name. He and Michael McKean were the duo that's kind of served as like the foil to the two.
Gotcha.
So yeah, go back and look at some footage up of them. Anyway, yeah. David Lander, he'll be giving a speech about the pine weasel, which apparently is actually a ferret. Ooh. Hey, that's another fun connection there.
Okay, that's fun.
David Lander.
About the ferret thing, because like I didn't know the pine weasel was a ferret. So at the end, I was like, just finally like when they finally pulled one out and were holding it at the end, it's like that's just a fucking ferret.
Ferret,
Is a
yeah.
ferret a pine? Is that actually a pine weasel? Is that actually what it is, or is that
I
just like
didn't
a
actually
made up
Google
thing?
a pine weasel. It was definitely a ferret. I'd be willing to bet that the pine weasel itself is fictional
Okay.
because that was clearly a ferret.
All right. Yeah.
But where I was going with that was David Lander. Another role he was famous for was the head weasel of Judge Doom's squad in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh, the head weasels.
You might,
Yes. Not
But
ferrets
he was
though.
No, he was the one in charge. You might recognize the nasally voice and make that connection now.
Oh, that's interesting. Cool.
You know what happens when you can't stop laughing.
I gotcha. That's cool. No, I remember that. And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, such a good movie. Holy shit.
Yeah, probably one of the more memorable characters in that film too.
God. And James Foley. Jim, can I call you Jim? He's really trying to elevate this episode to make it like Roger Rabbit. He's really
recognized
working
the
his
comedic
ass off.
of David Lander. Yeah,
Whew. He's like, I mean, this is
we
the
do
most.
see a lot of farce here.
There's some great
Probably
stuff
the
in this
most
episode. Anyway, go ahead, keep going on.
I think we're going to disagree on what the great parts are, but I'm curious to get to that. Where were we? Audrey runs into John Justice Wheeler, who is stopped by to say hello and spends the episode in a hat instead of a hairpiece. They spend a lot of time simultaneously apologizing and being all rom-com cute before deciding to set up a picnic date. A little coda of the scene has Dick pointing out the irony of using a stuffed pine weasel for the presentation instead of a live one. Foreshadowing anyone? Chekhov's weasel.
Ferret.
Back at the bookhouse, Harry is seated in front of an untouched breakfast and a much less full bottle of whiskey. His mood has descended from melancholy to morose. Now it's Coop's turn to visit. The room is much darker, too, I noticed.
Sure.
Now it's Coop's turn to visit and try and snap Harry out of his funk. His strategy is to use all the cold, hard facts about Josie's criminal past, which, in addition to the 2 murders and the attempted murder, include a string of felonies in Hong Kong and 2 previous arrests for prostitution. This finally sets Harry off, and he shouts at Cooper to get out. But Cooper remains placidly standing in front of the table as we cut to commercial.
So my comment for here was, for all this comment, let's just like break this down a little bit. This is me delivering as Coop. She's a whore, Harry. A whore. Anyway.
That is not Coop's style, and you know it.
I know it's not, but that's the fact.
That's the fact, yeah.
I mean, how many dudes was she playing? Harry included. Harry was just a fiddle, dude. She could figure that dude.
He does refer to her as a hardened criminal, which I think is probably the worst insult in his vocabulary.
Anyway, that's all I could hear the whole entire time. If I was like a real, like, if I was Albert talking to
yeah. That would have been Albert's approach. Tough love. Tough love would have been Albert's go at it. Oh, we're going to miss him.
He's already missed.
Yes, already. He would have been a lot of help this episode.
God, he would have been great in this, of the best. His great acting in this, the best episode ever shot, he would have been awesome.
In the library of the Blue Pine Lodge, Catherine is going over the blueprints for the Ghostwood development when she receives an unwelcome visitor who makes the excuse that the front door was unlocked. She introduces herself as Jones. We've seen her before. Yes. This is Eckhart's assistant.
I know.
I think this is the first time we've seen her speaking. Oh, no, she
spoke again.
Spoke English.
Yeah,
she spoke English when she booked their room at the Great Northern. With, what's his name? We'll see him again. I told you he had speaking lines. She's in town, Jones that is, to take care of Eckhart's remains, and Josie's too, apparently, since they're going to be buried side by side. To keep an eye on each other, quips Catherine. After the facade of pleasantries has been exchanged, Catherine brings her hand up from under the desk, holding a gun, insisting that Jones get to the fucking point. That's me reading for Catherine right there.
Gotcha.
Jones is not there for anything nefarious, however. Her only intention is to deliver a gift. A medium-sized jet black puzzle box, which she leaves on Catherine's desk, wishing her luck before she lets herself out.
Okay. I think this sequence is actually brilliant. I think there's great tension. There's great acting on both sides. What fucks it in the ass is that shit fucking score, dude. It is so manipulative and heavy-handed and just fucking garbage. It's like,
really? I didn't notice.
Oh my god. Well, it's because you've seen the show a million fucking times and you're used to the score. So like watching it, it's just like, and it like starts off as soon as she sits down, and it's just fucking playing, and it just
like the sinister evil.
Yeah, the evil version of it, and it's just like and it plays through the entire fucking scene, and I'm just like, okay, you know what? Maybe do something else. You can come at it at the end, but holy fuck, is it just
okay? Now I agree with you.
Fucked, and it's just like Man, this is a great scene. I really like this scene. I like
In the modern,
them.
yeah.
I like both these characters kind of acting against each other. I like the drama there. It's shot really well because I don't know if you've noticed how he handles two shots, but the director handles the two shots really well, more professionally than other people. Anyway, doesn't really
With
matter.
the over the shoulder
This
bit.
just a really good job of him. Anyway,
Mm.
the score. That's literally what I wrote. God, the score really fucks this show in the ass. Is what I wrote. It just fucking annoy. It's like, give it some. Let it breathe. Let them act. Then bring it in at the end. I get it, but we don't need it at the fucking. Anyway.
Maybe, yeah. No, I agree with you that this scene would probably be a lot more effective without any dialogue. And in a modern era, that's exactly how it would have been done.
I mean, music.
With like
not
maybe
dialogue.
a little bit of, yes, music. We'll get to a whole other episode about
It's
no
just-
dialogue once we hit the return.
I get TV trying to like really play you and like get you to like chime in, but it's like, man, let it breathe a little bit before we go to that. They just
And
like
this was,
as soon as she shows up, they just start fucking and it's just like, oh my god. And I'm like watching it,
Yeah.
liking it, but it's like, and because the song is really just a loop,
mhm.
and the scene goes for like a minute and a half or so, 2 minutes, and you're just listening to that fucking track for like on a loop for two. And it's just like, come on, man, come on, shoot me. Anyway,
It's overused. No
Yeah.
lie.
and that's
No
because I'm an enemy of winning. That's why you need to take my opinion into consideration.
Yep.
Right here. Anyway, go ahead, Gabe.
I have no such accolades. I guess all I
Just
could
a
do would
lifelong
be to
fan.
show off.
A
Yeah,
lover and fan,
and I can't
dedicated.
really show off all of my collection in the screen at once.
Listen.
But maybe next time you bring up your Emmy,
Gabe-
I'll grab the box set. and
Gabe
show that
loves
off.
this show so much. He convinced me to do a podcast about this show.
It took
That's
several years.
how important this is to him, and I respect that, and that's why I don't take it lightly. But I know he has opinions. I know he has a fondness, and I'm here to just break it all down.
And it's fun when we contrast. So
Yes.
this makes for a good episode this week, I think.
Sure.
Where are we? We're at the Hayward house, fading back in from commercial. Or no,
Oh my god.
Nope.
All right.
that's later. Sorry, we're at the Hayward house where Donna answers the front door to find Wyndham Earl.
Hold on a second.
Though she, what?
Hold on a second. Wyndham Earl.
Hold
This is
on.
my favorite thing about Wyndham Earl. Wyndham Earl is cosplaying this week. I don't know if
yeah,
you ever
he's all
saw
over the
it.
place.
I don't know if you ever saw it, Gabe. I don't know if you ever made the connection. But Wyndham Earl disguised as fucking Pete in this fucking scene, dude. He is literally disguised as Pete. And then they cut to a
I see it
scene
now.
at where Pete's playing. It's literally Pete. Anyway, you're seeing it now, but you haven't seen it
I
till
am seeing
now.
it now. Yeah,
It's fucking wild.
visually. I wouldn't say so with like
Oh.
the speech patterns.
No,
all
no, no,
that.
no, 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 no. But if you
But
were to cut
visually,
side
yeah.
to side of those two guys, it looks like Pete. And I'm just like,
I got really distracted by the really obvious cheek putty, like the way it shows up on a high def scan. It's distracting at first.
I just
The
think it's
color
funny.
was off.
I think it's, and I
But-
think Pete really looks like him in this episode too, as we see Pete in other scenes later on. It's just like, oh man, they really look like each other.
Mhm.
It's funny to me. I find it hilarious. Anyway,
Probably not an accident. I agree with you.
I don't know if it's an accident or not, but I just think it's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, Donna wouldn't know that it's Wyndham Earl, even if he wasn't wearing his silly disguise. He introduces himself as Dr. Craig, a friend of her father's from medical school. They have a pleasant conversation about his history with her dad and small town life in general before he leaves her with a small gift and a number that he can be reached at before he heads out the door. Donna does seem charmed by him and seems to enjoy his company.
I mean, he was fucking hitting on her.
Yeah, not in the
You're so
creepy old man way.
beautiful. And she was looking pretty good. That blue little sweater, she was tight sweater. Mm-hmm.
A little bit of a 50s throwback, yeah. All the ladies looking good today.
Listen, I might be an Emmy winner, but I'm also kind of a perv.
Kind of a perv. Not a Diddy level perv.
I did like how
you.
she said, I'm in high school. The whole high school talk. Unfortunately, I'm in high school, but she's never in high school. I mean, she was in high school for a moment with Nadine, but then she hasn't been in high school. I don't know. She's in high school.
I mean, yeah, aside from
Also,
Mike,
go ahead.
like she's the only other person that we've seen back in high school since the first season.
Have we ever seen any of her sisters?
Yeah.
Oh, have we? I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Alicia Witt, remember?
Is that the one that played the piano?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. One of them,
See,
not both of them. Okay.
They were both there.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah,
the
the
one.
youngest-
That's the one episode where both of them were.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, no, there's also the episode where Donna has the conversation with the other one about sneaking out of the house.
Oh, right. Way back.
That's early.
Way,
yeah.
way
Episode
back.
2 or maybe 3.
Holy shit! You're right.
The one who gets
Gotcha.
caught lying to Dad for him. So yeah, we've seen all of the
Dude,
Hayward sisters
on this episode,
the
if I'm
screen.
honest, it was a hot moment where like I forgot. I mean, it comes up later, but I forgot that her dad was the doctor. Like I was like, oh shit, that's right.
The ties that bind. Wait a minute. Her mom's in a wheelchair? What? When did that happen? Who done that?
Anyway.
At the sheriff's station, Pete's gone all Charlie Day on the chessboard. Books, boards, and pieces are strewn about everywhere with lots of notes on the dry erase boards as well. It took me a minute to realize that he's actually taking up the lobby in the sheriff's station with all of this. He's not in the conference room because Andy and Lucy are playing at Lucy's desk.
Right.
And they're just right next to them. Pete's been hard at work trying to figure out this whole stalemate plan, but he can't come up with a scenario in which he doesn't lose at least 5 or 6 pieces. Cooper encourages him to keep trying and emphasizes that it's most important to protect the queen. Earl wants to go after royalty. Defending those pieces will frustrate him. Lucy and Andy are in the middle of their own game where she calls him out for not moving his knight properly. As Cooper and Pete exchange wry smiles, they're interrupted by the arrival of Major Briggs and the log lady.
Okay, I will say this.
Mm-hmm.
This is the perfect amount of Andy and Lucy in an episode. A little fun kind of thing where they kind of argue and they deal with something in a scene that has to do with the show. I thought that was perfect. I thought it was cute. I thought it was funny. And the way that Pete and kind of Coop, kind of after Pete handled it and Coop and Pete were kind of looking at each other. It's like, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. This is how it should be. It shouldn't be these elongated things where like, I just don't care about this. This is perfect.
This was one of my favorite scenes of the episode, I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I liked was how Coop kind of popped up from
Mm-hmm.
under the table, like from the same perspective as Pete,
Sure.
to make his appearance. I like that exchange of the look between the two of them after making that correction.
I also like the depth on like the fact that Lucy and Andy are in the back room doing this thing, and then the log lady and the major show up, and there's like this depth. Like there's like chessboards at the bottom, so you see all these kind of depth chessboards, and then you see it's just like there's like more thought out shot choices.
Yeah,
and when there weren't
like
thought
you
out
kind of
shot
see
choices,
the order of importance.
they were just really well thought out. Like, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. Oh, let's take a little time here and do this. And it's like, I just really appreciated. He really knew how to frame a shot in a small area. And if you go back and watch Glengarry Glen Ross, it's basically a theater show, and he does all of this stuff within a very confined area. So like, you're gonna.
So this is perfect for him.
This is he knows how to like just really kind of establish and tell a story within this very confined area, and that's
all
awesome.
These small sets, these enclosed rooms.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't think we have any outdoor scenes that aren't establishing shots in this episode. We don't get a scene at the roadhouse, no crowds.
We do have we have the picnic scene, which also is awesome.
That is outdoors.
Yes,
that's true.
But yeah,
but it's
a great scene though. It's very simple. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it feels enclosed, like it feels isolated. It's not like in a broad open field,
except for the little wide shot at the end. But it's very kind of. Anyway, keep going. We'll get there.
Stop contradicting me, asshole. Even if I am wrong.
You're not wrong. You're just slightly wrong sometimes.
I just forget shit about it in the episode even after
because you weren't paying attention. You were hoping you could just surf off the fact that you watched it 2 years ago and be like, yeah.
I did watch this.
Ian probably hated this episode. I could probably
admit that I tuned out for a lot of the love story stuff where I'm just like, hey, you're the one who's here to like remark on the angles and the staging and shit.
Yeah,
you know?
I know. That's what I'm here for. Exactly. No, go ahead.
I'm here to rag on the acting because I thought it was dumb when I was 13.
I thought all the acting was pretty strong in this episode.
Yeah, because we didn't have Josie turning into a drawer knob.
Exactly. Oh my god. We had none of that. Anyway.
Cooper takes Major and the log lady into the conference room where Margaret explains that her log drew her to the Major's mark because she has one of her own on the back of her calf. What looks to be two mountains, or
Twin Peaks.
But
here's the other thing.
Maybe upside down set of vampire face.
But we go to that one, but at the same time it's like the Major's looks like a fucking radiation sign.
Yeah.
It's like, so what? It's radiation Twin Peaks, like it's getting volatile. Yeah. Like what are we saying here?
It's hot around here.
I don't
know. Margaret received her mark during a similar experience to the Major's when she was 7 years old, somehow losing an entire day when she was hiking in the woods, encountering a bright flash of light and hearing a call of an owl, just like the Major. Margaret said she also heard and saw these things on the night her husband died in a fire. Cooper sketches the two symbols on the chalkboard and ponders their meaning.
Oh, the chalkboard. Coop and the chalkboard. Man, I missed it.
It's his thinking board, isn't it?
We don't get it enough.
Oh, well, here's what we get plenty of is sappy love story stuff. Here we are at the picnic with John Justice Wheeler serenading Audrey with an old cowboy tune. Not a bad singer. Audrey is clearly smitten, but still hesitant. Maybe she's got lingering memories of Cooper, though she does confirm to Jack that he is out of the picture now.
Here's the thing about this sequence. You have more to say about it?
Yeah, a little more.
Sorry, go ahead.
Jack continues to work to impress her by offering to lasso random animals, since there aren't any cattle around. And Audrey hand feeds him some fruit as we gently fade to a commercial break.
I like this sequence. I have nothing against Billy Zane in this show so far. I don't know. I know you had this big epic. And
again, I am starting to question that. And maybe it's just because it's never what I wanted to see from this show.
I like
the soap opera stuff was always what I pushed to the back, like this and the James and Evelyn bullshit. It was just always the part about it that interested me the least.
Right. No, and I get that. I 100% get that.
That's what the majority of this episode is structured around, is moving the love stories forward.
But her dad brought this guy in to take over the Horn Enterprises. And they're falling in love.
Well, not take it over, but help them get back on their feet.
Whatever, Gabe. Come on. Let it go. Come on. Anyway, this sequence...
Hey, I watched this episode twice, motherfucker.
First of all, way better than the Donna James fucking picnic.
I will agree with you there.
Way better 100%. Than that. I think it's
Everything,
cute. He's
everything
serenading
between the two of
her.
them is better than between James and
He's
Donna.
serenading her, and I think she's kind of smitten by it. And she's like, he's like, "You've never been serenaded before." And she's like, "No." Like that dialogue's interesting. They're kind of flirty. It's shot close up, close up, close up, and then it does a wide kind of the lake. I don't know where this lake is, but they're on this lake, and then they actually use the picnic. Like he feeds her, she feeds him an apple, and it's just like, I'm okay with all of this. I'm okay with Audrey kind of having. I'm not against love interests. I hope that there is some kind of. There's something else to it eventually, and I don't know, as we're rapidly coming down the track to the end of this. Like, is this ever going to pay off? I don't know if this is really going to pay off in any kind of meaningful way, but I kind of like the idea that, like, there's this guy to help. Maybe he would want to take it over, maybe she wants to take it over, and they fight for it, and it becomes this other thing, and then they've had this loving past. Like, as I try to sit in it as a watcher, just watching it for the first time, it's like, I like the idea that they're trying to, like, come together, but then there could ultimately be this really volatile thing, and then they can't be at love because they want different things for the company. But I don't think because of how few episodes are left, that's not going to come to fruition. I don't know how it plays out, I don't know, I don't know. But I do know. I like the idea of this sweet, because all those sweet kind of innocent things is kind of what turns, like, young couples and then into evil corporate couples, And I like that could be a really compelling thing. It just didn't get its play. So anyway, I'm okay with watching Audrey do this. She still has agency within the company, trying to, like, put on this show and stuff. Anyway, I don't
She's
really
still definitely
anyway
somebody who is in charge, and everybody recognizes that. There's no question of that.
Yes, and I have no issues with Billy Zane, but he's just kind of there for now. He's just a character filling a void.
He is, yeah. There's not very much that's unique about him. Where are we here? Back to an exterior of the Hayward house, Riverside Avenue, huh? Donna's parents are arriving home, and she informs the doc about his visitor. He exchanges an uneasy glance with his wife when the name Gerald Craig comes up. That was his roommate in medical school, who died on a rafting trip on the Snake River many years ago. Bum, bum, bum. Eileen checks the number that was left behind, and it's for a cemetery. What a joke, huh? What a jokester. Doc opens his gift to find a black knight tagged with Wyndham Earl's next chess move. The doc cautions Donna not to let the stranger in again before heading off to the sheriff's station to deliver the piece to Cooper.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, 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 bum. Ed and Nadine are seated in their living room with Dr. Jacoby. They're trying to impress upon Nadine the gravity of what's actually happening. This isn't just a breakup, this is a divorce. There's still a lot of scar tissue in Nadine's memory, apparently, that's preventing this understanding. Nadine still is of the teenager mentality, not quite getting it. She does understand, however, that this is a final breakup. And then suddenly comes to the realization that she's now blind in her left eye.
So, this whole story, this whole plot thread, like, is still difficult as fuck for me. Like, I just... But what I think the eye thing symbolizes is that she's moving through time. So things are starting to progress in the timeline.
It's starting to fall into place. She's coming back out of it.
Yeah, whatever she was in high school, then now she's in... I mean, did she lose her eyesight in high school?
No, it was after.
Yeah, so this is moving, this is
It
progressing.
was on their honeymoon, I
right,
think.
so this is progressing to this point. That's kind of my that's how I interpreted this kind of that scene. But it's like it's such a fucking... I'm glad it was just so quick, and I mean, also I hate fucking Jacoby. This is just a lot of shit in this episode. That scene that I was just like, this is a pile of shit upon a pile of shit. But it was handled just like quickly, and let's just get through it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep. Boop boop. Done.
They didn't change a shot. They didn't do any. He didn't. It's like, we'll shoot this. Let's just get through it, and then it's over. It's just like fucking quick. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. We have another visitor at the Hayward house, spending a lot of time there this week. Donna must be fearless as she heads right downstairs as she hears the doorbell.
I would have been surprised too that Ben Horn's fucking my mom.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Her mom beat her to it. Donna watches from the stairs as the visitor is revealed to be Ben Horn, spoiler alert, who gently takes Eileen's hand, kneels to her level, making a shushing motion before whispering something in her ear. Do we need this?
I don't know what this is. Do you need this? I don't know, because I don't know what this is. You have to tell me.
We haven't figured that out yet.
I should have figured this out?
No, we haven't figured that out yet.
Okay.
We, the viewing audience, at this point in time. I'll leave it at that.
So Donna's mom's a whore, and she's been dancing around this entire time. She doesn't need the wheelchair.
It's just more soap opera shit, you know? It's just like, well, we haven't had Eileen on camera in a while. What can we have her do? Oh, how about she's having an affair, maybe?
Is that really?
I'm not going to say anything further other than we haven't seen the last.
I have no clue. I was watching that. I was like, is that Ben Horn? What is this about?
I mean, I think it's pretty clearly the implication. The gestures he makes are fairly intimate.
But have we okay, Gabe, but have I been giving a clue that this has been happening?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you should have deduced this other than from like the obvious body language that we see in this scene.
Sure. Okay. The way she touches his hand, and they're all like very like,
yeah.
And the way they treat the scene with Donna,
mm-hmm.
like she comes down and says, "Hey, what's going on?" Oh, Ben Horn. She somehow thinks it's something weird. It's like,
well. Okay. The music would also seem to indicate that, wouldn't it?
Sure. It is, again, like I've already stated, the music is heavily manipulative on the show. No, but I was like afraid that you were saying that like I should have picked up on the fact that Ben Horn was fucking this woman in the wheelchair.
No breadcrumbs laid prior to this.
All right. Lay it down. Everyone be cool.
Yep. Hackles down, boy. Hackles down. Okay, I take it back. This is actually my favorite scene of the episode coming up here. At the Double R, Norma is showing Shelley a flyer for the Miss Twin Peaks pageant.
Before we get to this part that you've already started to say, great camera movement. Starts dark, moves up the frame into Norman's view. It does like an up tracking into the
right.
It's like, great shot choice.
Like a natural visual movement.
Yeah. Oh, here. Reveal the character, and it reveals the fact that she's reading this thing about Miss Twin Peaks. Carry on.
It was a pro. This one was directed by a pro, people.
It was. It was indeed.
Norma is showing Shelley a flyer for the Miss Twin Peaks pageant, suggesting that Shelley would make an ideal entrant. Shelley rolls her eyes at the idea, but displays tremendous charisma and a great sense of humor, giving a fake pageant interview and offering Norma a fancy walk as she delivers her order to her customer. This is probably like the most we've seen Shelley's personality shine through.
And actually, like, just really good acting. Like, go from her to like hilarious. This fake persona, then back to cute again, and then back to work. It's just like, no, this is like, you're right, 100%. This is like some of the best, and this is the director saying, hey, let's go to work here. Like, I think this is, the shot, again, that's why I brought up the initial sequence of the shot, because it brings it up into frame. Norma's having fun reading this thing, and then she brings Shelley in, and Shelley does her thing. it's just like, that's engaging, that's fun, that's character development in the simplest of forms. Like, just, that's how you create character in a show that you have very little time with.
Yeah.
Without not explain like,
30
oh,
seconds.
Shelly's hot and she does cool things and she's fun and she could do this, and like, you don't have to explain it. You just have them do it. And that's what's cool about, yeah. So I agree. It's one of the, but that's the other thing. I think there's other scenes throughout this episode where like the characters are doing the things that they do, and they're not telling you that they do them. They're just doing them. And it makes it so while
being shown instead of being told.
Right. So while the episode may not be where it lands in the sequence of episodes may not be the best, and it doesn't help us much in what's going on, as an episode of character development, I think this is the pinnacle of what this show is. I'm going to say it right now, the pinnacle. And what you take forward into other series when you want to do this type of show. Like, hey, we want to show this guy doing this. We don't want to tell them that he's this guy. We just want to tell him that he's just going through this fucking situation, or she's doing this, or I don't know. I don't know. I really enjoy this episode. I can kind of separate myself from what's going on in the show and just kind of watch it and be like, I think this is it's a really fucking strong episode, in my opinion. So,
I mean, you're making great points to explain why. I definitely get your point of view here. And I would say that my distaste for this episode probably stems from
how it works in the show overall.
How it fits overall in the course of the series is part of it. But again, it's also, some of it comes from previous bias, informed from a 13-year-old's perspective, which is often very unkind and very black and white. So,
anyway,
I appreciate you pointing these things out. It does it makes me look at it in a new light, for sure. Let's see. Shelley's customer is Wyndham Earl in his latest getup, a biker with a spider tattoo on his cheek.
Okay, hold on a sec. I put for me, Wyndham Earl cosplaying this time as Tommy Chong.
Dude, without the spider tattoo, it would have worked. That just made it ridiculous.
I've seen Tommy Chong perform his stand-up. He might have a spider tattoo. I don't know.
Could be, folks.
This is a great sequence, though. Like, from that sequence Wyndham Earl, and then you're going to get to it, but, like, then to Cooper. I love this whole idea of this sequence. It's like, anyway.
Yeah, it's 3 scenes in one, essentially. Yeah, and it's very much like a stage play sort of thing. And I don't know how, I forget the writer of this episode's name offhand. Was it Barry something? I know we'd seen him before.
Barry Pullman.
Yes. We'd seen his name come up a couple of times, I think. So I wonder if he and the auteur...
James Foley?
Thank you.
Jim Foley?
Jim Foley. Good old Jim. Jimbo.
Related to Mick Foley?
Jim Meister. I doubt it.
I know. I'm just kidding.
But,
maybe Axel Foley. He's probably a brother of Axel Foley.
I got from Wyndham Earl were Mick Foley vibes. That was what I saw when I saw Wyndham Earl's biker
It was pretty funny when he was like, oh, that's okay. Here we go. Let's do it again. Yeah. He's doing it again. He's going to dress up for every girl. But then we got Coop. I thought that was cool.
Well, this is the second time he's dressed up for Shelley.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I see.
But yeah, Biker Earl strikes up a quick conversation with Shelley, telling her she's definitely pretty enough to win the pageant. I concur. But then his eyes are drawn away by the arrival of Cooper, who takes a seat at the opposite counter with a book about Tibet in hand. He barely has time for a sentence or two before Annie shows up to take his order. Cooper is obviously instantly taken by her. He recognizes that she must be Norma's sister and introduces himself as Dale Cooper, local law enforcement. The two make easy small talk, discussing how Twin Peaks can quickly grow on you, while Earl carefully observes from the other side of the counter, munching on a French fry. Annie pours Cooper his coffee, which he offers high praise for. He glances over to the spot where Earl was sitting, only to see an empty seat. Oops, I forgot to mention. As Annie pours Cooper's coffee, he notes a scar across her wrist. Clearly a self-harm one. After the coffee is poured, Cooper glances over to the spot where Earl was sitting, only to see an empty seat and an uneaten burger. Cooper only gets to his third sip of coffee before Hawk arrives to let him know there's a problem at the bookhouse.
Okay, so you said in your notes that Cooper was taken by her. I did not take that as that.
Really?
I took him as kind of like, okay, all right, can I get a cup of coffee? I didn't take him as being kind of taken by her. I thought him as being more kind of quizzical about her and unsure.
No, see, I interpreted it as like a love at first sight kind of thing.
No, I didn't see that at all with Coop.
And like watching this again, my memory has him reciting that line a lot more slowly when he first looks up at her.
Huh.
Like almost in a cartoony kind of way. Like, can I get a cup of nice hot Joe, please? Like that's how I always remembered that reading, which it definitely isn't.
I see it as like, can you do this? You look disheveled. That's how that's how I watch that scene. Like, because her hair is so kind of like frayed and weird, and she doesn't know. She doesn't. Yeah, I don't think her hair is very nice. It's very kind of gross. And then she keeps kind of coming back up with stuff, and I feel like he's like, "Are you sure you can do this?" Kind of. Like,
I mean, he clearly understands there's something different about her, like the fact that she has to turn the coffee cup over.
But I don't think he's taken by her. I think he's just unsure about her. That's my take on the whole situation. It's interesting that you think he's taken by her.
Well, perhaps I'm spoiling the future here.
Oh, great. Well,
I mean, did you wonder why they brought in,
another
Heather
love
Graham
interest
at this point?
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, that sucks.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, Audrey already said she's 18, so clearly safe for Coop. Come on,
well,
let's do a love triangle. Let's get it working.
Here's the fun story behind all of this. Is at the filming of this series, Heather Graham was 19 years old, while Sherilyn Fenn was 25 years old. So, if we're talking like real ages, yeah, Sherilyn Fenn would have been a much more appropriate.
Audrey is still so much hotter.
Oh, 100% agreed. But
dude,
that's
when
neither here
when
nor
fucking
there.
Billy Zane is holding her, when Billy Zane catches her and holding her, and he keeps kind of grabbing her thigh, I'm like, yeah, grab that. Keep kind of like
you lucky
grabbing
bastard,
that thigh,
yeah.
dude. Holy shit, dude. Anyway,
I just took that to mean he needs to do more bicep curls because he's about to lose his grip.
probably, sure.
Spend more time in that. He doesn't have his phantom physique.
But that would be my excuse for keeping to do it.
Yeah. Right. No, sorry. I've got a.
I just like my left arm is really weak. I need to do some more curls. I'm sorry.
I got a nerve thing. Anyway, the problem with the bookhouse is that Harry has perverts. The problem is that Harry has fully descended from morose drunk into mean and violent drunk. And he fills in Hawk and Coop at the door as they arrive to find literally every item of furniture in disarray. Even all of the picture frames on the wall are comically askew. It's like everybody went up there with one finger and turned them slightly sideways. Like, that wouldn't happen in the midst of a normal rage. Like, that is... I fixated on that for some reason, and
see, I was like, okay, fine, whatever. This is drunk, dude. I didn't care about this. This is kind of one of those scenes where, like, sure, we're progressing the story, but it's like, nah. Let's get on the other side of this one. Let's keep moving. Let's move along.
Keep moving.
Where's this going? Where is drunken Harry Truman taking us? Like, what is the point of this? We find out, obviously, but like what is the point?
Sure, we do. There's always a point to everything David Lynch does, right?
I mean, Lynch had nothing to do with this episode.
Well,
James Foley was the man.
probably very
Only
little.
James Foley. Hey, Lynch, you just stay home. I'll take care of this. You know.
Yeah. Go interview Kurt Loder about Wild at Heart.
Oh, Kurt Loder.
Harry is perched on top of a pile of broken furniture, waving his gun around with one hand and holding an empty whiskey bottle in the other. He careens wildly back and forth between chuckling and shouting as Deputy Dale tries to talk him into giving up his firearm. After some incoherent rambling about never going to China, Harry eventually breaks down in Cooper's arms, sobbing that he doesn't understand. We're all like that, Cooper tells him in empathy. After a commercial break, he and Hawk lay him out on a cot to let him sleep it off, remarking on how sometimes good men can love way too hard.
You have to love hard. Hey, everyone.
You gotta love hard.
Always love hard. Never not
Otherwise,
love
it's not
hard.
worth. Yeah,
It's not
loving
worth it.
half-assed. Not worth it.
If they're gonna fuck you over, they're gonna fuck you over, and you have to be prepared for that. But don't half love. Never half love. Go in. If it's someone
Yeah.
you care about, go in.
Amen, brother. See, we're not just perverts.
Well,
We've got souls. We got hearts.
souls.
Soul, baby.
Soul. Get on up.
At the Great Northern, Randy is checking. Speaking of getting on up, Randy, that's the guy. Randy St. Croix, his name tag says. He's checking a couple into the honeymoon suite for a single night stay. Mr. and Mrs. Hinkman, or rather, Mike and Nadine. I'm going to take this opportunity to talk about the little previously on intro that we get for this episode. I'll remind you that we've come back from like a 6-week hiatus at this point. They've been off the air for a long time.
So
most of
Mike
February and
aged
March.
2 years,
Well, no,
and he's
not
old
that.
enough to take Nadine
But,
and have sex with her. And
anyway. The recap we get isn't just like the typical previously on Twin Peaks and then scenes. It's Cooper narrating a bunch of stuff, like catching people up on, okay, here's where we left you off.
So where do you
Like,
get
this
that?
is what-
How do you get that? Because I don't. You get that
It's on the DVD set.
on the DVD. I said I don't get any of that.
Yeah, no, that's bonus material
Okay.
that the real fans, we paid for. Not just using our Showtime subscription.
You're right. I'm not
Ooh.
a fan yet. I don't know where I stand in this endeavor.
Right, calling y'all out. But yeah, so in this catching up prequel little thing, Cooper states specifically that Nadine is 35 years old. So just want to establish that.
She fucking looks like 42. Anyway,
I don't agree with that.
she looks
I'd say that the
fucking
eye
old,
patch
dude.
makes her look older.
Sure. Okay, you're right. 42, 45. She looks fucking ancient, dude.
Yeah.
My
She doesn't
wife,
look normal.
my
good.
wife
Yeah.
is 46, and she
In
looks
2024.
younger than
In
this bitch.
2024.
Broad.
I bet
shouldn't
you
say
she
bitch.
took way.
Broad.
I bet you she took way better care of herself.
I don't think Nadine is a bitch. I apologize. But my wife, at how old is she? 35. My wife,
That's how old the character is supposed to be.
no,
Couldn't tell you how old the actress was. Wendy Roby is her name.
probably 49. Like grandma. She looks like a grandma with a patch. Anyway, go ahead, Gabe. I'm sorry.
I disagree. I think she's attractive. Again, it's the patch. It's
The patch does it for you?
no, I think the patch is what is the turnoff for most people.
I like the idea that the patch
I think
does it
a lot
for
of
you.
people no, I think a lot of people can't look past the patch, and that's why they don't see how beautiful she actually is. But I digress. Mr. and Mrs. Hinkman, or rather Mike and Nadine. Mike rambles for a bit in character about the beauty of the region before he's recognized by a classmate in the lobby. Nadine mashes the service bell flat with her hand, which distracts the concierge long enough for Mike to grab the key and his luggage and head on up to the room.
Though I don't know if he's getting much because Nadine looked pretty upset.
Oh, she wasn't upset at Mike. She was upset at the concierge.
I think she's a little jealous of that interaction with the hot young girls, and that's why she smashed the bell. And then, let's get the keys. And then he got the keys and they go off. But I think she was upset that he was flirting. Not flirting, but kind of talking to the younger girls. I think she was upset with that.
Interesting.
That was my take on that. I was like, oh, Mike's talking to these other girls. He knows. And I think she was jealous, and that's why she smashed the bell. That's my take on that whole...
I just thought she was getting impatient. But
no,
that could really go. No. That could be interpreted either way, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, if he comes out with like just his mind blown and she's like happy and they had a lot of fucking sex, illegal, awful, like pedophile sex, but David Lynch is allowing.
Have we established if Mike may be 18 at this point?
No, we haven't.
I mean,
we haven't yet. We haven't
it's
yet.
Spring of a senior year. It's entirely
yet.
possible he is 18.
We established that Audrey's 18.
Yes.
We haven't addressed that Donna's 18 yet.
Actually, we went back and forth with Audrey, didn't we?
I don't know if Audrey's 18.
Like when she talks, I remember when she talks to Cooper, she's not 18 yet, but she tells
she smokes
JJ
cigarettes.
Dubs that she's only 18.
So maybe she buys her own cigarettes?
My dad started smoking when he was 12, dude.
So he just stole cigarettes? So she just
it wasn't hard.
So she's stealing cigarettes from her dad, who's a doctor who doesn't smoke. Is that what we were getting at?
Oh, if you're talking about Donna, that's different. I would just be saying it wouldn't be difficult for a high school senior to get a pack of cigarettes in that day and age.
I'm just being a dick.
Not at all. Actually, it wasn't for high school seniors in my day and age to get them. I knew plenty. Meanwhile, in the main ballroom, Ben Horne is making his big introductory speech for the fashion show, extolling the virtues of preserving the natural habitats of the pine weasel and other animals in the region through his Stop Ghostwood campaign. Ferret. Good speech. Sounds real sincere.
I just want to let you guys know that the ferret is not endangered. It is a pet, and it is widely available.
And it also stinks up your place real bad.
I guess my wife, Bryn Christie, who I live with, before me, she had a ferret as a pet.
Did she?
Yeah.
There were some friends of mine who lived in Colorado back in the day. They had 4 of them.
They say they're great. They're very loving.
They were cuddly, yeah. But they had like complete reign of the house. Like they had the tubes for them like running everywhere in every room and just there was a very distinct smell.
But... Oh yeah, you mean urine everywhere?
It was a bit muskier than that.
I mean, urine can be pretty musky.
Maybe.
I can come piss in your house if you would like a musky scent.
Really? You got your gland going there?
My gland's always going.
He's always got territory to mark.
Anyway, sorry.
Ben gets things underway by informing the crowd that many of the models were volunteers from the community whom they may recognize. The first of these is Lucy, dressed in a whole lot of plaid wool and a little bit of polka dot. Next up is Andy, sporting an outfit that looks like it belongs on whichever one of Santa's elves is responsible for mucking the reindeer stable. I should add that Dick is introduced prior to them making their appearance. He is the MC for the fashion show.
Yes.
Good old Dick in his plaid cummerbund and matching bow tie.
I mean, it's kind of fun. It's interesting too. Like,
it's regional but elegant.
I think it's funny that like his choices are the choices that get on the stage, like his kind of like fashion choices of what's going on. It's like, is that really what we would go with? No, I think it's his.
I think that Lucy wore the polka dot despite being told not to. That's kind of the impression that I got.
I just think it's funny. They all look very like Dick clothing, and I don't think anyone would ever wear that. Anyway,
certainly not whatever Andy was wearing.
It's fun.
But yeah, now it's time for Tim Pinkle's speech. He comedically enters from the side of the stage to zero respect from the crowd. He's brought a live pine weasel with him, who to the untrained eye is just a run-of-the-mill ferret.
100%.
100%. Tim talks up the virtues of the pine weasel and its place in the ecology before pointing out that it's attracted to shiny objects, like the studs on Dick's tuxedo shirt, and cheap cologne, like the kind that's smeared all over Dick's neck.
So I feel like, before we get too far into this, the show has been pretty solid about its jokes, its character development. This is where we enter into the actual, like, what I think David Lynch likes. I think, James Foley's really paying attention. This is a very slapstick sequence. It's a very, it reminds me very much of like a Animal House or a
Benny Hill.
Like, it's like one of those films is like, oh, we're clearly setting this up. We all know what's gonna happen. Like, you're watching this, and then it's just like, it's. Anyway, go ahead, Gabe.
Yeah, the ferret or pine weasel, whatever, inches closer and closer to Dick as Tim encourages Dick to give the weasel a little kiss. The weasel instead decides to latch onto Dick's nose with its teeth. Cue vintage slapstick comedy as Dick runs around shrieking, eventually flinging the ferret from his face into the plate of a donor at a table in front of the stage.
See, that sounds like that's like classic film.
Oh, it's vintage, yeah.
It's a very vintage, classic, like, all right, let's just, if this is what if I gotta think that, like, he got the script and he's reading, it's like, okay. And then, like, okay, you guys just want to do, you guys want to do this? It's like, we're just going to straight up do this. All right. And this is how we're going to do this. And, like, it all happens kind of comically, and then you've seen it in movies before, like something happens and it throws off, and then everyone freaks out, and it's great. It's fun.
It's a cliche.
It's a cliche at this point. Even back then, at this point, it's a cliche.
I think it's pretty interesting that this is a cliche that you feel still works.
I don't think it works. No, Gabe. Ho.
Okay.
Let's reel that
That's
in.
the impression I got.
It is a cliche that has been done, and it still happens today. Actually, to this very day, it still happens.
My goodness, yes.
Do I think it works? No. But in 1992... 91? I'm going to allow it at that point on the show that's been directed of everything that's been done. Listen.
So was it his idea to do shots from the ferret's point of view, do you think, or was that in the script?
No. You're just trying to make it aggressive and fun and crazy, as weird as possible. I would always do point. You know what? Here's the thing. He probably has nothing to do with the editing, but as a shooter, as a director, I'm gonna shoot. If we're gonna do an animal thing, I'm gonna shoot animal POV. So that's in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, that's up with the director, producer. Probably not with the director, actually. Probably the showrunner, producer, and editor. Like, should we put some of this in? Because I doubt he had anything to really do with editing of this show.
Hmm.
I think I would argue that none of the directors, except for David Lynch, has anything to do with how the show comes out, editing wise.
As far as after the editing room.
Yeah. So like
that's a pretty fair assumption.
So
a lot of that
as a
direction would come
director,
from Lynch,
I'm always going to be like, hey, let's just fucking shoot some of that shit. It's fun. It's easy. We probably have a secondary camera. We can just fucking run that shit around.
Yeah,
Or
just
maybe
pick it
they
up
don't.
for
Maybe
next shot
maybe
and
the
use it.
producer just wants to have. I don't know what the circumstances of this situation are. Maybe he has a vision, and then maybe a producer's like, "Hey, we run a B camera, and just collect some fucking ferret cam." I have no
Right.
idea.
I mean, some of that had to be planned because there's the scene
Oh,
where it like
100%.
runs up on the guy and he's like, "Argh."
100%. But is that the director? We don't know.
We don't know. Anyway, I'm getting a little.
We only
ahead of
know
my
here, Gabe.
description
I will
here.
tell you this. I only know that the director. You can tell the director's vision throughout the show the way it's shot. Any kind of crazy stuff, you can kind of be like, maybe it wasn't him, but you can tell through the dialogue sequences and all the shots, very consistent. You know what he was doing. Through the choices in the diner scene, very consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Were those extra shots, or was that him? Did you decide to lighten up and have fun? We don't know, but anyway.
They're the mark of a professional.
I think, like I said, what a great fucking episode. Anyway, continue on.
So yeah, the written description I have here is mass hysteria ensues and everyone panics, overturning tables and chairs to get away from this horrible, horrible rodent that they're trying to save from extinction.
A ferret.
We even get, yes, a ferret, which is technically a rodent, but
Also
we even
technically
get
not
camera
extinct.
shots. Go along with the story here, all right? We even get camera shots from the weasel's point of view as
Yes.
Andy, Lucy, and Audrey try to restore order.
We call it Weeze View.
Weezviz.
Yes.
Weasel vision. A screaming idiot knocks Audrey off the stage and directly into John Justice Wheeler's arms. And they make out amongst the chaos while everyone else acts like imbeciles.
I love the kiss. I love it. I think it's a
It's good,
great
yeah.
kiss.
It's good for the two of them. And what I did like was the smash cut in mid-scream. Like the focus on the one character that nobody knows acting hysterical, and then just boom, smash cut to a very quiet room. I thought that worked very
It
well.
does. I think. Listen. I guess we're gonna need some other film professionals to like watch all of these Twin Peaks episodes. But I think, in my opinion, this is the best put together episode we have seen of this show. Whether it's the best episode content wise, probably not. Obviously, there's been a lot of better things happening in the show. This is a very kind of this like superfluous. I can't say that.
Superfluous.
Thank you, Gabe.
Yes.
Episode ultimately because it's ending soon. But I just think as an episode, it's like, man, if we could have got this guy earlier, we could have made some of those episodes really tight.
And I think he might have been like part of the whole. There was this like push from the network to bring on bigger named directors to kind of help the series along. Like Diane Keaton was part of that initiative. So maybe that was why they hired Foley on for this particular episode. Was part of that idea as well. With
But
maybe
I think the
intentions
story,
to bring him back in the
but
future.
like if we just take it by what this story and the characters are doing,
Mhm.
what the story is supposed to be, I think it does a good job of laying out what everyone's doing right now. It does a good job
Absolutely,
of sharing.
yeah.
It does a good job of. It's like it's not none of the scenes are too long and obnoxious, and they don't.
Yeah, I'll agree with you 100% there.
I
It
think
moves along.
It's paced
It doesn't
100% awesome. The pacing, like I would go back and rewatch this one just to like point out even more shit. Like I probably missed a lot of shit, but like if I really wanted to just point out like how I just think this is a really great episode. In like, well, here's the other shitty thing. Here's the other
technical standpoint.
Here's 100% technical, but also like carrying out the story. Now maybe the story sucks, and this points out how awful the writers are at this point. But he made these scriptwriters' story like he made it sing. He made it work. He made it the whole thing. Just it all works within this show. And maybe the episode before it sucked balls. It did. And I don't know how it's going to handle afterwards, but like, how did you make this shit story just kind of sing? He paced it out just really well. It flew, it edited, it shot. Like this is just how much someone can take something that is garbage and just like make it better. Or maybe not. I don't know. But I just... I'm
polishing a turd, huh?
Oh, 100% polishing a turd. But he's polishing a turd from the beginning to the end. Like, through the lens, maybe on the day of this, he's rewriting a script. I don't know what he had with the editing, but the editing, for the most part, is better than it's been in other episodes. I'm just really impressed. Like, it's... Like, the last 2 episodes have been rough, Gabe.
They have. I won't lie.
It would be interesting to see with someone with, like, a mastery of the craft to handle those and how he would have changed those. Or could those have been changed or reworked? Or maybe here's the other thing. Maybe this episode was just so fucking boring. Bringing a really good director in just made it seem really cool. That's the other thing. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're probably 100% right. What actually happens in this episode?
Right?
Nothing.
Because if you're not looking at the directing, if you're not looking at the way the scenes are staged,
you're ultimately looking at Harry Truman sobbing.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at
in a highly melodramatic, out of character way,
right? But still fun. You're looking at Shelley doing some stuff. You're looking at it's pretty. You're right. It's a pretty
pageant, which is kind of important going forward. But.
Sure, they established that. They have a little like bizarre thing with the weasel ferret. They have the love, like clearly Audrey and Wheeler consummate their love, but ultimately none of that is important to what's probably going on in the ultimate arc of the show. Kind of
window dressing, really.
So this show. So what Gabe is saying is this episode was unimportant. We should have just cut to the next episode where all the shit happens, and that's the episode that this director should have directed. Because this episode is, you're right. I am now agreeing with you that this episode is trash, but it is a really well directed trash episode. But I agree. Like, what happened here? Nothing.
Nothing happened.
We kind of know. That Wyndham Earl is stalking girls, like he always does. We know that Major and Log Lady have a connection.
They're weird. Yep,
they're weird. We knew that, but they're together now.
I don't think they're together.
They're together now. They're a force. That's like a superhero.
God, do we need another extramarital affair in Twin Peaks?
No. They're not fucking each other. Gabe, let it go. They're just like a superhero team. Jesus Christ.
That's what together means.
No, together like a superhero team. Like Batman and Robin, not like... Holy shit, not like Batman and Alfred. I don't know. Anyway.
Here, let me finish up our one last scene for the episode before we continue rambling.
Oh, we're not done yet?
We do have one quick little end scene here.
Oh, we do.
We do. Whatever kid they've got guarding Harry at the bookhouse is doing a shit job of it, as someone sneaks up right behind him and takes him out with one pistol whip to the back of the head. It's Jones, who strips down to her underwear and climbs into bed with an unconscious Harry as the credits abruptly roll.
I love this.
The
I
fuck?
actually love that too. I mean, I don't know how it's gonna actually play out in Twin Peaks because Twin Peaks is fucking dumbass ideas. But like the idea that he's like so brokenhearted, drunk. Knock him out. He wakes up and he's obviously fucked her. You know, that's the idea behind this. Like, he's clearly had sex with her. And now, what is he going to do with that information? Even though he didn't have sex with her. That's fun. That's interesting. But I got to feel like Twin Peaks is just going to fumble this like a fucking monkey fumbling a football. Like, I don't know. I don't know how Twin Peaks is going to handle this. But I like the setup. I just don't know how it's going to handle.
They're going to fumble it.
Thank you, Dave. Gabe. Thank you.
They're going to fumble.
Thank you. Awesome. Cool. Like, anyway.
At least the stuff that you're interested in, they're going to fumble.
I love this episode. I think this episode is really well done. I really enjoyed it.
Hey, that's awesome, man.
It sucks that it is so it is so meaningless to the rest, ultimately, to this fucking show.
Yeah. I mean, now that you talk about it, I would have loved to have seen Foley tackle some of the scenes in One-Eyed Jacks.
Oh, I would have loved to see him tackle anything, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, this episode is so meaningless. It's like a filler episode. It is literally filler.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I mean, we do get a lot of motion in the Wheeler and Audrey story, and
we get a setup.
We get the introduction of Annie.
Truman. We get a setup of Truman, and we get introduction of Annie. You're right. We get some of this.
So
kind of
I wouldn't say nothing goes on. Nothing supernatural really goes on.
I was super high on the fact that I love this episode, but like looking back now, it's like Gabe is right. This is a dumbass episode.
I don't want to diminish your enthusiasm. I really don't.
It really is the best produced, directed, shot episode there has ever been of Twin Peaks, in my opinion. Unfortunately, there's nothing going on in it.
It's a show about nothing.
Yes. Yeah, this is like a Seinfeld. I was surprised Seinfeld didn't show up.
So yeah, quick look at the ratings here. They did. So the last episode aired on February 16th of 91. Mm-hmm. Then they took it off the schedule for 5 full weeks. Then they moved it back to Thursdays up against Cheers. That's where this episode aired on March 28th. But it did see an improvement in the ratings from where it was last at. We had 9.2 million viewers, which was good for a 6.2 rating. That's good. 10% household share, 77th on the week.
James Foley, everyone loves
James
him.
Foley.
They know there's Madonna videos.
And we talked about how the show was brought back to the schedule via a fan writing campaign. So, even back then, the fans were pretty fervent about it. And they brought it back to life, at least for a little while.
Hey, Gabe.
Hey, Ian.
No. My question is, so last week's super low ratings, does it always get better or does it get worse later on? Is that the worst it ever got?
That is the worst it ever got. Okay. Yes. So that is the lowest rated episode of the entire original series. So people
try to come back, try to save it. They're trying to.
They tried. Yeah. They really tried. It did start to drop again, and it dropped close,
but not as bad
to that low point. But it never got that bad again.
We only have how many episodes do we have left?
We only have 5 episodes left of the original series.
And the last 2 were directed by Lynch?
The last one was directed by Lynch. Okay. But the last 2 aired together as a Sunday night movie.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
I'll be
after
interested.
It had been pulled from the schedule again.
Should we watch those back to back or should we not?
I would say not.
Okay.
All right. I would say let's go ahead and watch them as separate episodes. That's really how they were made. Okay. So that's how they were intended to be viewed. I think that's the way they should be.
Okay.
So there was one item of business that I missed out on last week. We actually forgot to say our goodbyes to one other series wrap, which was probably second only to James in screen time. But we did bid our farewell series wrap for David Patrick Kelly as Jerry Horn. That was his last
Oh,
episode last
really?
week.
Oh. Dude, he fucking kills it in The Crow. Have
He
you
does.
just rewatched The Crow recently? Dude, that dude.
And I
Twin
think he
Peaks-
kills it here, too.
Twin Peaks, he's fine in Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks never really lets him stretch.
He's
But
good
if
for what
you-
he is, which is a
Yeah,
sleazy
sure.
kind of, you know,
But dude, in fucking
sleazy rich guy.
in The
and he does it
Crow,
great.
dude, that dude fucking he makes a lot of those scenes in that movie, dude. He
does, yeah.
He's doing the acting for he's one of the dudes that's making Brandon Lee awesome. Like his
Brandon
acting
Lee doesn't even say a word in their scene together.
a lot. Yeah,
Like,
that
that's all
scene,
it.
100%. That
Yeah.
like a bash the devil stood and felt how awful goodness is.
Yeah, the whole scene
That's
where he sends him off to the air in
100%.
the car.
That's
Yeah.
100% him. That
Yeah,
is
Brandon Lee just stands there looking
stands there
intimidating
looking
throughout that whole scene.
like, and the music kind of ramps up, but like, bash the devil. I mean, that is you feel
he
that
carries that scene.
you
Yeah.
feel that because of him, and he's that kind of actor. You never. I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, I don't want to shit on Twin Peaks too much, but if I'm gonna be honest, like, you never get that amount of acting out of him in Twin Peaks ever.
No, you don't, and you don't really need to. I mean,
But he's fun. He's always been fun. He's always exciting, dude.
mhm. the scenes between him and Ben are some of my favorite scenes in those first few episodes.
I'm now listening
really
to
have good
this, and I'm looking at this, and then there's a note I wrote that I forgot to say to you, and we just kind of skipped over it. There's that point where Ben is talking to Catherine.
Yeah.
Just before
Oh my God, we did skip over that.
we
scene,
we
didn't
skipped
we?
over that whole sequence, but my
we
favorite thing.
did.
It's during the whole show, and Ben has this long talk with Catherine. And my favorite thing about
Mhm.
Ben during the whole thing is like, Ben just drinking a tall glass of milk.
Yeah. Milk and a cookie.
It's just so like, how classic Horn Brothers right there, man.
Right.
Just like, that's what made me
some
think
good
about
food
it. But
involved.
like, 100%, dude. He is such a great actor. Man. And
Yeah.
The Crow, I mean, he's great. I'm glad I got to learn that he had a longer career in the television and stuff. But man, forever in my heart will he be, you know,
T-Bird.
T-Bird in The Crow, and like,
Oh yeah.
yo, grab some smokes and road beers, or
Yeah.
bash the devil stood and felt how awful goodness is.
And it took it
and
was a
felt
long
how
time before I
awful
put two
goodness
and two
is.
together
Like, I just
that they were the same actor. It was
that
a long
movie
time.
is so fucking timeless and sits in a place in my heart so high, and it's all partly because of him. He's so awesome.
He
One
is.
of my crew got perished. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like the dude is. Maybe all of David Lynch's and the Twin Peaks stuff helped him work on that, but like him in The Crow, he is such a singular character, and
Yeah, he's got a
anyway.
presence there for sure. I will just go over that scene we missed real quick. Audrey is ushering things along backstage while Ben Horn is enjoying a cookie and some milk at the bar when he's approached by Catherine. She wants to know exactly what it is he's up to and who he's trying to fool with this whole shtick while Ian polishes his Emmy. Ben maintains it's not an act. He's a genuinely changed man, and he's got a lot of misdeeds to atone for. He encourages Catherine to embrace the goodness of giving, going so far as to solicit a check for his Stop Ghostwood campaign, earning a hearty laugh from the both of them. So yeah, you know, I liked that scene a lot. I thought that one was good.
No, I
Ben
thought-
Horn gets a lot of good.
Here's the
dialogue.
thing: like, you might be bored of this whole episode because it doesn't do much. But if you break down every scene, man, the scenes are great in this episode.
Mhm.
I think that's what I'm saying. I think it's some of the greatest. I was a big fan of this episode, Gabe. I haven't been this excited. Like I was like I was literally thinking like I'm not gonna write notes tonight. I'm like just gonna sit here and watch this and be like, when Gabe talks about it, like, yeah, I remember that. It's cool. It was fun.
But this one got you jazzed.
No,
Got the filmmaker
I
in
just
you up.
think, yeah,
that's
100%.
Yeah, I love it. That's why we're doing this, is so you can point things out to me that I wouldn't notice or that I wouldn't see.
I appreciate it. I thought it was fun. I like this episode. I 100% agree that like nothing in this episode is important, but man, was it good. I really like this is the promise of this show in the future. This is what this show is promising. Like you can create character, have character continue on in a multi like episode story, and this is what we run. You know what? We watch these Star Wars shows and all these other whatever shows nowadays. We run into these padded shows now. These are those kind of shows. We run into those shows. They're character development, but they're padded. We call them padding.
Right. That's 22 episode season. You got a lot of time to fill.
But like nowadays you have like 10 episodes and like maybe one of those episodes is just like a padding episode. It's well acted. It's well cool. This is what that episode is. This is that episode. This is like, you know, this is that promise that shows could be that awesome all the time. But every once in a while, they're going to pad one out for you. And we're going to call it the James pad out the episode Foley episode. You know, James padding it out fully. You know, it's just like,
hey, hand it to someone you know is going to do it well, right?
And now everyone does it well. And like we watch them and they're well done, but everyone just talk shit about them. You know, everyone's like,
yeah,
dude, why do we have that? Why do we have to watch that? Why did the Jedi have to walk around and suck a dick? Or, you know, it's like all kinds of stupid shit. But it's like, back in the day, we didn't have that.
No.
Anyway.
A couple of quick trivia notes that are interesting here. In the scene where Jones comes to meet with Catherine, you can see a Golden Globe on the shelf behind them. No visual evidence, but it is probably Piper Laurie's, which she won for the show.
Oh, that's awesome! That's like me putting my Emmy right over here. You know, it's like,
yeah, and like constantly running a graphic with your name on it.
Oh, would you like me to run it? Okay, sure.
Can you do it all in one color this time, or no?
I mean, I can. I'd have to like redo it. Maybe next time. No, I like the really shitty like video effect. Like, oh wait, he won an Emmy for video TV, dude, and this is the graphic. This is the shitty graphic. I like the idea behind that.
This is an intro screen of an 8-bit cartridge that you just plugged in.
I could kill someone with this. Like I could stab him with these, or I could like knock him out. It is wild. Awards are wild.
That's what you want to do with your Emmy, is club someone to death with it.
Yeah, I'm probably going to kill Gabe with it someday.
There is also a note here that the shooting script implied more than the episode itself that Tim intentionally made the weasel bite Dick.
That's just a good director, just doing his job.
And you know, I felt it was pretty implied in the scene we saw.
Yeah, I thought he'd bite. Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I've got for this week. Let's look ahead at the next episode just a little bit, maybe. Oh, and my headphones have died before.
Oh, an hour and 43 minutes in, and Gabe's yeah.
I think that battery case needs a charging. Anywho, next week we are On the Wings of Love. That is the episode title. We do see the return of...
On the Red Wings of Love?
On the Wings of Love.
Oh, wings. Not red wings. Just wings.
No, just wings.
Not like...
Not those red wings. Jesus Christ, you pervert. Anyway, we will see the return of David Lynch as Gordon Cole.
Oh!
We will also get an update on how Wyndham Earle and Major Briggs are connected.
Gabe, I have to tell you, I'm working on a super secret thing for the final episode.
Oh, you've got a big secret, huh?
Production. We're doing a bunch of stuff. Multicam.
Wow.
Just for you.
Just for me.
Because you know everything that goes on that I need to like create something that like you are not ready for. And I think you're gonna love it.
Hey, yeah, that sounds great. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
Surprises like that can be fun. So yeah, next week, Wings of Love. I get the feeling. Oh man, look at that sweater that John Justice Wheeler is wearing. Oof! Can't wait for you to see that.
All right. Cool.
90s fashion, baby.
All right.
So yeah, that's gonna do it for us this week at Blank as a Fart. You know where to find us on socials by now, right?
Hope so.
Blank as a Fart on Instagram and Facebook. Blank as a Fart pod at gmail.com. You're watching us now on YouTube live Wednesday nights. You can also get all of our previous video versions of our episodes there. Regular episodes, no video, audio only, are streaming on Spotify, iTunes, Audible, and all those other junk ones that nobody else uses. But you can connect to them all through Spotify, right?
You can just Google Blank as a Fart
Google
podcast, and you'll get all the choices. You'll probably get like third-party podcast platforms that we don't even know that just like are just like ripping it off and posting it on their pages. Like it's wild.
Taking food right out of our mouths.
It's a wild west of podcasting.
And we're pioneers, baby.
Indeed.
Yeah. We're doing something nobody's done before.
Hey, Gabe.
Get drunk and talk about their favorite show.
I love doing this show with you. It's been so much fun.
I'm enjoying it too, Ian. I'm having a great time.
I can't
I
wait.
hope all of our listeners and viewers are as well. So yeah, we will see you next Wednesday for On the Wings of Love. I'm Gabe. That's Ian. Let a smile be your umbrella, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Take care, everybody.
Emmy winner, Ian Southworth.
One more time with the graphic. Give us the air horn.
Let's do it.
Come on. Air horn.
Air horn. I don't know where's the air horn at. Jesus.
We'll see you next week, everybody. Thanks a lot. Bye.
I love you. Oh, Gabe. This music is so good.
It's a great tune.
I just let it play out. I got 30 seconds. Now the music left. Let's let it play out.
It's been running that long behind us talking.
Well, I do it low, and then I kind of slowly fade it.
Like a radio show.
You know, I'm telling you how we make the cheese, basically. All right, it's over now. I guess we can leave.